Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
The candidates are making their final pleas to voters, and we're already seeing a bit of friction at one polling place just hours ahead of the midterm election. At this point, you've probably already decided how you're voting if you haven't already turned in your ballot.
Yep, polls open at 7 a.m. tomorrow, just about 14 hours from now. They'll close at 8 o'clock tomorrow night, though if you are in line at 8 o'clock, you will be allowed, of course, to vote.
We have team coverage here at 5. Mara McDonald has a look at where the candidates for governor have been focusing in their final push to appeal to voters.
Rod Maloney in Dearborn, where the issue of election observers and challengers already being raised. But let's start things off here at 5 with Grant Herms and today's decision on a lawsuit that threatened to disrupt the election process in the city of Detroit. Grant.
Well, Devin, Kimberly, that lawsuit was filed 12 days ago by the GOP candidate for Secretary of State, Kristina Karamo, who's run almost solely on the debunked claims that the 2020 election had been stolen. The judge writing today in his opinion that those similar arguments, again, didn't hold up in court. The judge's ruling scathing, ripping into the attorneys of GOP Secretary of State candidate Kristina Karamo, calling the lawsuit a false flag of allegations that failed dramatically after Karamo's attorneys failed to produce a shred of evidence. Karamo had been claiming the absentee ballot counting process in Detroit was illegal and wanted Detroiters to vote in person, something the judge wrote would have disenfranchised more than 60,000 voters. Attorney for the city, David Fink, calling the ruling a major victory.
In this case, with this lawsuit, the judge has rejected every single claim that was made. And I think the real message that comes from this is that the voters of the city of Detroit can have confidence that their vote will count and that only properly cast votes will be counted.
Local 4 did attempt to reach Karamo's attorney and her campaign for comment, but did not get one back. Now, the judge also noted in his ruling today that Karamo's legal team was attempting to demonize election workers that we'll see here working tomorrow night at Huntington Place. And it's because of those similar things that we've seen, not just from this lawsuit, but also across the board lately, that we have police out here. And then later this afternoon, we heard that the Department of Justice will also be keeping watch over several cities in Michigan, keeping an eye out for things like voter intimidation and the potential for violence. It is something that Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson said today was one of the most significant new steps in election security this cycle. Back to you.
Yeah. Okay, Grant, thank you.
Now, after 2 debates and a lot of money spent on advertising, not much campaigning left to do in the race for governor.
Mara McDonald is live with a look at where the candidates are putting their focus in these final hours before voters have their say. Mara.
Hi, Kimberly, and voters are having their say right now. We're at one of the hot spots. This is the Detroit City Clerk's office, and we've had a steady traffic of people actually backing up on West Grand Boulevard in order to drop their ballots off. So much so, Clerk's office has staff out here to help out. The campaign buses have been rolling since Friday. Dixon spending the final day on the west side of the state. Whitmer's in the metro and ending up in East Lansing tonight. Classic get out the vote campaign strategy.
We certainly want people to just go out and get to the polls and vote safely without any interference. That's the goal. And we feel, like I said, we have a great team on the ground that is going to make sure that it is a fair voting process.
Don't let anyone stand between you and your right to speak out and to elect your leaders. We will fight to ensure that every vote is counted. We had a free and fair election in the middle of a pandemic 2 years ago, audited 250 times, and it was accurate. Even when the Republicans themselves audited, they acknowledged that. That's why we're not going to stand for anyone who's going to try to intimidate or impact this moment. We will take it on. We're taking it seriously, and we're working at the local level and at the state level and at the federal level because your vote matters.
Typically in a midterm, the party in power takes it on the chin. You can see that playing out with the expectation that nationally Republicans take the House and perhaps the Senate. However, here in Michigan, because abortion is on the ballot, our pollster says there isn't just one wave.
This is one of the rare midterms where we have a competing wave here in Michigan in abortion and the Dobbs decision. And these two waves are coming at each other, and we don't know if they're going to neutralize each other, if they are going to, one is going to be more powerful than the other.
Back here live and talking to Richard this afternoon, I asked him, what are you really looking at tomorrow? He said regions, specifically, what are the margins like in Oakland County, and especially taking a look at what Kent County does. We're live in the News Center. I'm Mara McDonald, Local 4.
Yeah, okay, Mara, thank you. Well, election eve already has its first polling complaint.
Rob Maloney in Dearborn, where a Republican poll challenger made a police report this morning after not getting the access he wanted at City Hall. Rod, you got to look at what both sides are saying about this.
Well, we have done that, Devin. And, here's the thing. What many people don't know is that there are ways to check oversight at the polls. One is with a poll watcher. They're not allowed to talk to anybody. They can just watch. But there are poll challengers, okay? And that's Hassan Aoun is a poll challenger. They can have autonomy around the place. They can talk to the election officials, cannot talk to voters. But what happened here was the election challenger was denied access. So he filed that police report.
She said, no, you got to go sit in a corner over there.
Hassan came to Dearborn City Hall, where there are roughly half a dozen polling positions and the clerk's counter, where absentee ballots can get turned in. The place quite busy today, and recently converted Republican Hassan Aoun received training as a challenger and came to do his job, only to get relegated to the seating position set aside for watchers and challengers.
There's nothing to oversee. I'm sitting there. The overseeing is behind the counter, and they don't want me to go behind the counter.
He is following his training and the law, which does in fact allow him the access he's asking for. So when the clerk's office turned him away, he filed a police report and left. Enter Dearborn City Clerk George Deraney with his view.
A challenger may ask to go behind the counter, and if with our assistance he or she can observe what we're doing, yes, but with our permission.
Hassan says that last part is not in the rules, and Deraney says that he should have been allowed in.
If I was here, I would have allowed them behind the counter.
Okay, so it was a mistake that he wasn't allowed.
Yeah, he should be able to. I'm not sure if that's what he asked. He said, I didn't speak to the gentleman, so I don't know.
I want to make sure there's no fraud whatsoever.
I don't think we did anything majorly wrong here today. If he wants to come back and take a look at what we have behind the counter, that's fine.
Well, Hassan said he would not go back inside today. He said he's going to take all of this to the Republican Party and the people that trained him to see what they have to say about it. In the meantime, we went to Dearborn PD, and we did ask to see the police report. They said that we probably would not get access to it for the next 3 to 5 business days. Back to you.
So did Hassan say why he didn't go back in today then, Ron?
Yeah, well, what he said was that he didn't feel like he was welcome, and he thought that that could end up in a confrontation, and he said he did not want to end up arrested. And so he said, we're going to let this shake out another way.
Yeah. All right, Rod.
Well, here's a peek at what you'll see tomorrow on clickondetroit.com during the election. We'll have updated numbers on the key races such as governor, attorney general, and secretary of state, and of course the proposals. Right now at Click on Detroit, you'll find our voter guide full of information on the races, help finding your polling place, and how to look at your sample ballot.
Our Decision 2022 coverage continues over this next 90 minutes of news and then some. At 5:30, we'll get the national perspective, what level of voter turnout is expected, and which issues loom largest across the country.
Then at 6, negative campaign ads. We explore what people think of them and how effective they are. Then at 6:30 on Local 4 Plus, Christy McDonald runs through some of the key races and issues on which you will be voting. That starts right after our 6 o'clock news.
Other news tonight, a man is arrested and charged in a shooting outside a Farmington townhouse. Happened last Tuesday on Slocum near Grand River and Farmington Road. A man called police saying his tires had been slashed. Well, police then found him on the ground next to his truck. At last check, in critical condition. Matthew Miguel Jones, a 40-year-old from Farmington Hills, was arrested with help of from the Detroit Fugitive Apprehension Team. He's charged with assault with intent to murder and 2 counts related to firearms. But police want to know more about this car. They say Jones was driven away in this gray Ford Fusion with heavily tinted windows and no license plate. So if you see it or know anything about it, you're urged to call Farmington Police. An accident in Inkster has police investigating one of their own. Police say a man walking on Inkster Road near Cherry Hill last night was hit by an Inkster police car. The investigation shows the man walked in front of the squad car. Not clear as to why. That man's name has not yet been made public. We do know it's a male in his 50s. At last check, listed in temporary serious condition.
Another Monday brings another staggering Powerball jackpot. Nobody matched all the numbers Saturday, so the jackpot has climbed to $1.9 billion for tonight's drawing. That's a cash option of $929 million. The jackpot has been climbing since August 3rd. Tickets are $2 each and can be purchased in person or online until 9:45 tonight. We'll have the winning numbers on Local 4 News at 11.
Another lovely day after quite a weekend.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah.
Just lots of bright sunshine. Hi, Kim.
Well, hi. It was a beautiful weekend, but daylight saving time ended. And so now we are only at 5:10 and sun's about to set at 5:20. So the sun does set earlier and earlier. 54 degrees in Detroit. Once that sun goes down, boy, it gets cold. We'll drop quickly into the 40s. In fact, Lapeer already in the 40s, 53 in Mount Clemens, mid-50s at City Airport, and 50 in Pontiac. Your evening planner, again, once that sun goes down, those temperatures drop. 41 degrees by midnight tonight. For Election Day tomorrow, we do get some sunshine, but it's a little chilly. It's 36 in the morning. By noon, we're at 46, and then in the afternoon, 52 degrees. But 52 is right where we should be for this time of year. We are going well above that for the end of the week, but then the weekend, we might see some flurries. We'll talk about that in the forecast. But first, if you want to keep up to date on all the weather information in your neighborhood, the best way to do it is to download the Forewarn Weather app. Just go to your favorite app store, type in WDIV, and download the Forewarn Weather app. It's